Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at upnradio.com.
Welcome to Foster, and now here's your host, Dr. Anissa McNeil.
Good morning and welcome to Foster Radio Show. I'm so pleased to be with you this morning. Today we're going to tell the tale of twins that were separated by the foster care system. We're going to go through what happened to the twins, where are they today, and this story is probably one of the most riveting stories that I have done while I'm on air, telling the stories of foster youth right here in our community in Southern California. Before we get started, as per usual, I want to tell you about the scope of foster children within the United States. Here in the United States, there are 408,000 foster children in the United States. Here in the state of California, we have 64,000 foster children in care here in the state of California. Right here in our local community, Southern California, meaning Orange County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County, LA County, we have just over 34,000 foster youth right here in our own community. So with that being said, we have such a significant number of people in foster care right here in our community. And so I always want to tell you the number so you can see how important these topics are as we talk about the stories that impact or the activities that have impacted the lives of foster children. Meaning these activities that we discuss here on Foster to Foster Radio Show have impacted or have the potential to impact 30,000, 67,000, 408,000 foster children in the United States. But today we're going to really focus on the tale of twins. We're going to tell the story today of Ronald and Ryan Moore. We're going to tell how they were born, what happened to them in the foster care system, and what happened as a result of the foster care system. More importantly, as our story unfolds, we're going to focus more heartedly on Ryan, not to leave out his twin brother Ronald, but we're going to talk more specifically today about what is going on with Ryan. But before we dive into the story, I want to set up what is this thing called being a twin? What does that mean to be a twin? I want to show you a short video clip about the 10 important facts of twins. Let's go to the clip now and see, what does it mean to be a twin?
Ten mind-blowing facts about twins. Bonding. Researchers in Italy observed 3D ultrasound videos of twins and discovered that at 14 weeks gestation, twins began interacting with one another. The twins would reach for each other, and at 18 weeks gestation, would spend about 30% of their time in physical contact. More importantly, the twins would touch each other's eyes with the same care that they would touch their own, which could mean that they understand treating another human being with care.
Wow, that's amazing that even in the womb, these twins are here together with each other and they've already learned to care for each other. That is indeed a very special bond of being a twin. So if you have that very special bond in the womb, then what does it mean to be a part of a family? What does it mean to be a part of this family structure? I chose a video on YouTube called The Importance of Family Bond, and I think that video tells it best. Let's have a chance to see that video.
Australian Institute of Family Studies logo, researching family wellbeing for over 30 years. Children crossing. Children playing.
My family sisters.
My brother.
Me, my mum, and my cat.
2 other brothers.
My little brother and my guinea pigs.
4 other sisters, and 1 brother moved out.
Awesome, but a little bit loopy. My family's fun.
Sporty, encouraging, and helpful.
I have a dog called Nacho.
Gus, you're meant to do it as well.
Very crazy. It's cool having a family. The best thing about my family is that they don't yell at me much. Family means no arguing. Someone I see a lot. To care for each other. You live with your family. You support them. They're related to you.
And they all will care for each other. People that would help you.
And they get married and stuff. I'm an only child. They're a bit Scottish and they're a bit Italian.
Dad's side are living in Vietnam.
And my grandparents live in Turkey. Some live in Greece, some live in Italy, and some live here. Some of my family is annoying, like my sister. He's smelly sometimes.
Kids holding up drawings of their families.
I like going on holidays with my family. That we have lots of fun together.
And we all love each other.
The Australian Institute of Family Studies, delivering quality research on the well-being of Australian children and their families.
It's very important to have a family.
Thank you, the staff and children at Carlton North Primary School, Suitcase Murphy, Sunny Wilding, Free SFX, Australian Institute of Family Studies logo.
Wow, you can see the most adorable film about the bond of a family. And the children told us as best as children can tell us the honest truth. I love my family. He could be a little bit smelly, can be a little bit annoying, can get on my nerves a little bit, but family is so important. But today, what you know to be true is I come on the radio every week to tell you about foster youth. And unfortunately, foster children sometimes they don't grow up with that strong family bond. And today I'm here to tell you about the tale of twins that were separated by birth. You can see from our video showing the bond that twins have in utero. Take that strong bond and the bond of having a family. And then what does that mean to twins who then find themselves separated by the foster care system? Today, I have in the studio with me the aunt of Ronald and Ryan. And she is Miss Monica Muke is here with us this morning. And Monica, first, welcome to the Foster to Foster radio show. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you very much for having us.
We're going to take some time and walk through some of the events that have happened to your nephews, okay? Mm-hmm. What do you want to achieve by telling the stories of your nephew?
I definitely want justice for Ryan.
And what does justice mean, Monica?
I sincerely got choked up when you played the video on families because that is definitely something that Ryan hasn't had an opportunity to relate to his biological family the way Ronald has, the way his both of their older sisters have, the way that we all have. And I sincerely want Ryan to have an opportunity to bond with his family and to bond with his biological family on a day-to-day life and family gatherings, to love and to celebrate, and to live especially the most independent and self-sufficient life possible that he is afforded by the law, and obviously he so much deserves.
Okay. So we're going to take our time to this morning, Monica. We're going to take our time and piece by piece, layer by layer, we're going to tell this riveting story about your twin nephews. All of these stories, in our listening audience, all of these stories are available by the Orange County Register. And if you simply go to www.savingryan.com, Monica and her family have compiled all of these articles together. We're going to go through the articles a little bit, but more importantly, we're going to talk to the aunt. We're going to hear directly from her some of the things that have happened. But what's the basis for our story today? Our basis of our story is grounded already in printed material about Ryan and Ronald. We're going to go to a very short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to go through the birth of Ronald and Ryan. You're listening to Dr. Anissa McNeil. I tell the stories of foster youth. This is the Foster to Foster radio show. The first annual Unstoppable 5K Run Walk will happen on April 30th, 2017 at the Don Knabe Regional Park. Join us for fun-filled activities, awards, and much more as we provide scholarships to foster youth. Register today at www.unstoppableawards.org. Registration is $55. Join us in the park, help us provide scholarships to foster youth, and help them be unstoppable. You're not in Los Angeles? Don't worry. You can participate virtually. Sign up today to be a virtual participant at www.unstoppableawards.org. You can register. We will mail you your shirt. And if you post on our Facebook page, then we will mail you your finishing medal. Yes, everyone in the country can participate in the first annual Unstoppable Awards. Join us and help us make foster youth unstoppable. The Unstoppable Awards is a nonprofit organization that provides scholarships to foster youth. If you are a foster youth graduating from high school and live in Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, or San Bernardino County, we'd like to offer a scholarship to you if you have a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA, you've overcome some significant challenges, and you've been accepted to a college, university, or trade school. Please visit our website at www.unstoppableawards.org or call our office at 213-634-0044. We'd like to help you. We'd like to make you unstoppable. Education Works Consulting Firm provides foster youth education services. We work to make sure that every foster youth has a chance by providing a way through education. Please visit us at edworks4u.org or call our offices at 213-634-0044. Education works for all of us. We're back to Foster with your host, Dr. Anissa McNeil. Welcome back to Foster radio show. I'm here today with the aunt of Ryan and Ronald Morris. We want to tell the story about these twins that were forced to be separated by the foster care system. I want to start at the beginning of their story. Monica, tell us about your sister. More importantly, tell us about her mental illness that led to having 4 children involved in the foster care system.
Well, my sister is not much older than I, and we are very close sisters. Something that always rings true to my heart is feeling the strength and the love that I have for my sister, and she has for me. And we're not even twins. And when I think about Ryan and Ronald, it really is heartbreaking because I could only imagine that theirs is tenfold because of their twin bond from being in the uterus and brought into this world together.
So, Monica, tell us about your sister. Tell us about how this mental illness led for her to have 4 children in the foster care system. What was that?
Well, she has been experiencing mental illness for most of her life, and she is, obviously it's an ongoing process, and it's something that she and us family deal with, and we live with. And I know that there are a lot of families with mental illness, and today we can talk about these matters rather than just shove them under the rug as back in the day when it wasn't experienced as a community concern and a family concern that we can feel heart to heart with and deal with in a productive, proactive way.
Okay. And I'm going to, for our listening audience, if you go to www.savingryan.com, you'll see a newspaper article that was published by the Orange County Register. And this first newspaper article, right after the lovely pictures of the twins, the author there talks about the day of the birth of the twins. She describes that the twins were born, and that day was quite unique. So, Monica, can you tell us about the day that Ronald and Ryan greeted us here on Earth?
Yes. Well, Ronald and Ryan, as you know, were born prematurely, and so Ronald was rushed to Chalk Hospital while Valerie was rushed to Huntington Beach Hospital. And at that time, my mother was there and was really hoping that Valerie would get the care that she so needed after just delivering a baby. And unfortunately, their doctor ended up giving her a psychotic drug because she was having a psychotic episode in all of the pain that she was dealing with, and ended up basically instead of dealing with the pain and instead of dealing with her in a very patient, loving way, gave her a psychotic drug to calm her down. And
because indeed she was having a psychotic moment.
She was, and Ryan actually was born a little over 2 hours later, and I'm sure that him still being in the womb was very painful.
Was anybody aware that she was going to birth twins?
No.
So the doctor, in all fairness, he thought that this child had already been born, and here's a mom having a psychotic moment after birth. But what happened?
So she ended up being, like I said, given a shot of psychotic medicine, and then the doctor finally started paying attention when she yelled and said, "Ah!" And then everybody looked, and there was Ryan coming, being born into the world.
Was your sister aware that she was having twins?
No, she wasn't.
Okay. Because what we found in the article is that the reporter reported that mom did not get any prenatal care. So there was no record on anywhere that they could have found that there were twins going to be born from your sister. So that had to be such a traumatic event. And what we know to be true is that Ronald was born on one day, and because Ryan was born 2 hours later, the clock had turned.
Yes.
And so indeed they have two different birthdays, but that just happens to be because one was born real close to midnight and one was born after midnight.
Exactly.
So do you know the environment? What was it like for your sister? Has she ever made any comments to you about what that day was like, having these twins and already having experienced the foster care system before? Because her oldest daughter and her middle child, and I say middle child because there's two daughters that are older than Ryan and Ronald, they had experienced the foster care system. So what was this day like for your sister? Has she ever been able to articulate that?
Well, I know she didn't articulate necessarily that day, but one thing that I know is true is that she had fear because her daughters were thrown into the foster care system, where my mother quickly had gotten them out of the foster system and became their legal guardian. When she was pregnant, we didn't know. She wouldn't tell anybody. And she was so premature in birthing them that she didn't really show that she was pregnant. So it was something I think she was scared to even announce because she didn't want them to be stuck, her children to be going through the system again.
That's understandably. So both of the boys were born 3 months premature. What happened after this traumatic delivery? What happened?
Well, my mother would come to, they both were in Chalk Hospital, and my mother would visit every time at night feeding, obviously to check up on them, make sure that they were doing well. She would feed them and love and nurture them and, discuss things with the nurses and just bond with her grandchildren. It was obviously always her intention that they would stay with the family and be reunited with their older sisters who she was already caring for.
And where was your sister at this time?
My sister was living with my father.
Okay. And so after their birth, she returned home, and the boys were in the NIC ICU at Chalk Hospital. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so this takes us to, when were they released from the hospital?
It was several months later, and they were basically released directly to foster care because both of them were on a monitor for their health conditions. And the social services department said that they needed to be still under the care of a monitored supervision, and that wasn't an option for my mother to take them home because she had expressed to social services right off the bat that she really wanted them reunited with their elder sisters and their entire family.
Okay. And so they were both then released to foster care. So how long did, and now I'm going to talk about the twins as two separate people, just so that the audience can understand this. So here is Ronald, who was born first.
Okay.
He's the oldest. How long was Ronald in foster care?
Ronald was in foster care for 18 months.
Okay.
And then basically he was allowed to live with my mother and be under her care, where my mother continued physical and occupational therapy, and he did exceptionally well living with his sisters.
And so your mother became his legal guardian.
Yes.
Why guardianship? Has your mother ever said to you why she didn't adopt him, but she became a legal guardian?
Mm-hmm. I think it's pretty common that mothers don't want to take their kids' children for adoption because, my mom really was hoping that Valerie would be able to feel better at some point, well enough to where she could be more of the maternal role, and to adopt the children would be assigned to Valerie, that it's a permanent situation. So legal guardianship was a temporary, a stable environment, but something that wasn't so bound to basically be saying, I'm taking your kids away from you, Valerie.
So she was the legal guardian for all three, for Ronald and the two older girls?
Exactly.
Okay. And that is common. I've been in foster care. I've volunteered for foster youth for over 20 years. And the number one thing I hear from a lot of grandparents, including my own, is to have an avenue for their child, to have a way to come back into the child's life. So I get that. Mm-hmm. Monica, can you tell me a little bit about what happened to Ryan at this point? Now Ronald spent 18 months in the foster care system, and he goes back home with grandma. Mm-hmm. What happens to Ryan?
Well, Ryan continued to be transferred to different foster cares. He was at least in a few different foster care homes. Originally, they were in one together, and the foster parents said that they were too much to handle together, so the social services department moved them to two separate homes before Ronald ended up going back with Mama. Ryan, unfortunately, was still in foster care, and the social services department social worker at the time had promised my mother that when he became more stable, that he would be able to come home and be reunited with his family. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
Okay. All right. We have to go to a short commercial break. And when we come back from commercial break, I want to talk about how did Ryan become adopted? Okay, we're going to go through why did Ryan become adopted, and how were they forcefully separated by the foster care system. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
My name is Dr. Anissa McNeil. We're involved in telling this story of twins and how they were separated by the foster care system. I do the work, and I tell the stories of foster youth, and I'll be right back after this commercial break. The first annual Unstoppable 5K Run Walk will happen on April 30th, 2017 in the Don Knabe Regional Park. Join us for our first annual 5K Run Walk and win prizes, have lots of fun, and a free-spirited time as we provide scholarships for foster youth. Register today at www.unstoppableawards.org. If you don't live in the state of California, but you still want to support us, no problem. You can sign up to be a virtual participant. We will mail you your running T-shirt, and then as you post on our Facebook page, we will then mail you your finishing medal. Once again, please join us at the first annual Unstoppable 5K Run Walk on April 30th, 2017 in the Don Knabe Regional Park. Register today at www.unstoppableawards.org. Education Works Consulting Firm provides foster youth education services. We work to make sure that every foster youth has a chance by providing a way through education. Please visit us at edworks4u.org or call our offices at 213-634-0044. Education works for all of us. The Unstoppable Awards is a nonprofit organization that provides scholarships to foster youth. If you are a foster youth graduating from high school and live in Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, or San Bernardino County, we'd like to offer a scholarship to you if you have a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA. You've overcome some significant challenges and you've been accepted to a college, university, or trade school. Please visit our website at www.unstoppableawards.org or call our office at 213-634-0044. We'd like to help you. We'd like to make you unstoppable. We're back to Foster with your host, Dr. Anissa McNeil. Welcome back. We are telling the tale of two twins that were separated by the foster care system. And we have live with us in the studio this morning their aunt, Monica. And Monica, we got to the point right before commercial break where we talked about that now at this point in time, Ronald is at home with your mother and Ryan continues to be in the foster care system. Can you tell me where was Ryan placed, and then who became his adoptive mother?
As I had mentioned earlier, Ryan was at a few different foster homes, and he was eventually placed with the woman that adopted him. And there were, the whole time, obviously, that the boys were separated, my mother would bring Ronald and their two older sisters to visit on a weekly basis, and it would be consistent, and it was all the way through. So there was a time where it was daily visits. Week visits for hours, and then it went to a full day, and then even to weekend visits. But that started changing very quickly because the foster mother is the one that wanted to adopt Ryan.
Can you tell me now at this point, and me having spent quite a few number of years in children's court, what was the factor that determined that your mother could not become the legal guardian for Ryan?
I honestly believe that it was extremely political, and the foster mother was a former adoption social worker for Los Angeles County, and she really knew what to say and what to do in order to put a wedge between Ryan and his biological family. That's there were accusations of Ryan coming home with scratches and bruises on his shins. And although that didn't even happen, it's kind of funny that that would be a ruling reason that a child playing on the playground with little boo-boos would be a reason to start curtailing visitations.
Did you all ever ask for monitored visits? If she's making that claim, did you all ever get monitored visits so that someone would be able to oversee what was happening?
Well, when she announced that she wanted to actually adopt Ryan, and visitation was being curtailed, she was the monitor. And
oh, wait, Monica. So you're telling me that the same lady who accused your mother of returning Ryan with bruises on his shin, the court allowed the same person to be the monitor for all the visits?
Absolutely. And I know that that's not just happening in this situation, but they often provide the same person that ends up adopting to be the monitor in a situation where they're visiting with their biological family.
Wow, that is incredible. And as I read in the newspaper articles by the Orange County Register, another factor that the court was thinking about is your mother's knowledge of Ryan's disability. Tell me a little bit about that. Did your mother ever attempt to learn about his disability? Because when he was born, both boys were born developmentally delayed, which is pretty normal of being premature. But Ryan, because he was in gestation for 2 additional hours, was born with additional difficulties. Did your mother attempt to learn about difficulties at all?
Absolutely. She and I both attended a lot of doctor's visits. We were obviously involved in his education as well. But when it comes to the accusations that were made that my mother didn't understand his disability, there was obviously a very wide communication gap there. My mother would talk about Ryan's abilities and potentials. For instance, when he was at the home, my mother would show him how to use pull-ups instead of diapers. He was actually pulling up his own pants and zippering it, where in foster care the staff would dress him. He was learning how to use pull-ups, and unfortunately we learned later that he had been in diapers into adulthood, according to his spouse that we'll be talking about, I'm sure.
Okay. So I just want to tell the foster community that at this time that Monica's mother is engaged in the foster care system, we don't have this thing called relative caregiver pay, as well as we don't provide services to relatives. But now, as of 2017 in the state of California, we do now provide relative caregiver payments. And now, as of January 1st of 2017, we have a new law called the Continuum of Care Reform Act. This act indicates that foster or relatives that we now call resource families will not only receive payments, Monica, but they'll receive training, resource counseling, therapy, all of that. This is the first time legally in history that a family member will not only receive payments for their family member that is involved in foster care, but that the foster care system will now train families to provide the resources that they need. Had your nephew been born 2017, that court ruling would have been altogether different. But I also want to ask America to stay watchful. Now that we have this new continuum of care resource law, which says that we'll provide specific training to families, do we know what training is being provided to families? And why is this important? It's important because for the foster child, this is like double jeopardy. When you're in foster care, you're separated from your family. You don't have them around you. And if for the first time our foster care system is going to train family and give them resources, America, we have to be watchful that they get the necessary training and they are allowed to have all of the resources to really help their family members. We saw earlier in the show how important a family is and family bonding is. So I'm asking that we watch this new law, this Continuum of Care Reform Act, and to make sure that families get all of the resources that they need. I can tell you that growing up with my grandmother made all the difference in my life. And so I'm very watchful of this law. I'm very watchful that we keep our eyes and our ears open to the 67,000 foster youth here in the state of California, as well as the 408,000 foster youth in our country. We're going to go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to find out what Ryan is like as an adult. And we're even going to show you his wedding video. My name is Dr. Anissa McNeil. You're listening to Foster to Foster Radio Show, and we'll be right back after this brief commercial break. The first annual Unstoppable 5K Run Walk will happen on April 30th, 2017. Help us kick off the National Foster Care Awareness Month in May and join us at the Don Kanabe Regional Park as we provide fun-filled activities, a run, walk, and prizes so that we may give scholarships to our foster youth. Registration is $55. Register today at www.unstoppableawards.org. Not in the state of California? No problem. Join us as a virtual participant. Yes, you can sign up virtually, and we will mail you your 5K Run Walk t-shirt. Once you post on our Facebook page on April 30th that you, your friends, and family are indeed running and walking with us, we will mail you your finisher's medal. Be sure to stay tuned on our Facebook page on April 30th because we will be giving away prizes to all of our virtual participants. Join us for our first annual Unstoppable 5K Run Walk on April 30th. Register today at www.unstoppableawards.org. The Unstoppable Awards is a nonprofit organization that provides scholarships to foster youth. If you are a foster youth graduating from high school and live in Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, or San Bernardino County, we'd like to offer a scholarship to you if you have a 2.3 to 3.2 GPA. You've overcome some significant challenges and you've been accepted to a college, university, or trade school. Please visit our website at www.unstoppableawards.org or call our office at 213-634-0044. We'd like to help you. We'd like to make you unstoppable. Education Works consulting firm provides foster youth education services. We work to make sure that every foster youth has a chance by providing a way through education. Please visit us at edworks4u.org or call our offices at 213-634-0044. Education works for all of us. We're back to Foster with your host, Dr. Anissa McNeil. Welcome back to Foster to Foster Radio Show, and I'm in the studio today with the aunt, Monica, of Ryan and Ronald Moore. Monica, I want to talk to you about where Ryan is today. You left us off with him having difficulty with toileting. How does he function today as an adult?
Well, he definitely is out of diapers, and he is a beautiful young man who is very sweet, also very loving like Ronald. Both of them have a lot of similarities, and having not seen Ryan grow up for many years because we weren't able to visit with him for 13 years, it was remarkable to see both of them together because they do have so many similarities still in their behavior and in their just overall demeanor. They both are very loving and hugging, and Ryan is a very, very innocent young man, I should say, that functions more like a child. As you know, he has mild cerebral palsy, and he unfortunately was not taught in his foster and adopted mother's home how to read or write, and his skills right now in the ability to write is just basically kindergarten level of tracing. He does speak. He doesn't speak as clearly as one may hope, having a lot of speech therapy, and he has a lot more potential, in my opinion, than where he is today.
From what I understand, Monica, from the article in the Orange County Register, that not only was the adoptive mother his adoptive mother, but she started a non-public school in her home. And all of the children that she had in foster care, she indeed homeschooled at her facility. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's what's written in the Orange County Register. And later we find out through the Orange County Register that the state of California, after paying the non-public school $800,000 a year, the state of California shut that school down. So you mean to tell me that our state paid a facility $800,000 a year, and this young man walked away without the ability to read or write?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm floored at that. So, Monica, you mentioned, you mentioned earlier that he has a husband. Mm-hmm. So I want to, and you see inquisition on my face, because from what I read, he functions at a 5-year-old. He has the mental capacity of a kindergartner, as reported in the Orange County Register. So with that capacity, he got married. Who consented to the marriage? Was it your family? Who consented to the marriage?
Well, we didn't even know he was getting married. We found out after the fact, when we were speaking to his adopted mother's brother. And the person that consented and also married Ryan to his spouse is the adopted mother, who was the co-conservator at the time. She consented, as well as the co-conservator, is her staff member, and she actually not only consented, but she conducted the ceremony.
Wait, Monica.
Did the marriage.
Wait, Monica, wait. So you're telling me that the adoptive mother became his conservator and co-conservator with her staff member. They both consent for a young man to a young man who functions, has the cognitive ability of a 5-year-old, to marry his spouse, and the co-conservator conducts the ceremony? Mm-hmm. Is this legal? Well, before I start to talk about that, let's show a clip of Ryan's wedding. Let's show the wedding.
With this ring,
I take you as my husband.
I take you as my husband.
For as long as we both shall live.
For as long as we both shall live.
Okay, now you gotta repeat after me. Are you ready? Yeah. Say, I, Ryan. Well, I know. Hopefully it's the last time you'll do it.
Yeah, I'm getting married to one time.
Okay, do you want to just put the ring on Sean's finger? Are you promising to be his husband forever? And love him no matter what? Until you're not alive anymore, till you're gone? And even after that, probably? Yeah? So, tell him that and put the ring on his finger.
It's not a baptism. It's not a baptism.
So now, if you want to take Ryan, I'm saying my own husband's name, I'm sorry. So now, if you want to take Sean as your husband for the rest of your life, you need to give a symbol so he'll know that and he'll remember it, like you have this ring on your hand. So now you put that ring on his hand. That's your gift to him.
Push it all the way up. Right.
That's good. If it's hard to get on, it means it's hard to come off. Push it on there.
Does he understand what's going on here?
Well, that's not for me to decide. It's for anybody that watches the video. Obviously, when we watched it and I kept rewinding it to hear what he was saying, he says, when she says, repeat after me and put Ryan, he says, what is this? And his soon-to-be spouse says, you're getting married to me. And he says, I'm not used to this. He says, I've never done this before. And then he starts talking about it as if it was a baptism, baptize in the name of Jesus. And his soon-to-be spouse says twice, it's not a baptism, it's a wedding. It's not a baptism, it's a wedding. It's quite questionable, in my opinion, as to his cognitive level of functioning
And
to be married.
How old was his spouse when he married Ryan? Ryan in this video is how old?
20.
And how old is his spouse in this video?
37.
So a man 17 years his senior is marrying him. And according to what I see, what indicates that his mental capacity is not of a regular 20-year-old. America, if you saw the video that I saw, that's why you can see all week I've been saying that this is one of the most riveting foster care stories that I have done in my career. This young man was separated from his family. Monica, you all still don't have regular visits with Ryan at this time. Is that correct?
That is correct. The last attempt that he made to visit with us, he called after we had a wonderful celebration in San Juan Capistrano. It was a pre-Christmas event, December 2015, and we spent some quality time together that weekend, and the next morning he calls me and says, Zia, which is aunt in Italian, are you going to come pick me up for Christmas? And his spouse picks up the phone and says, I already have plans for us, and hung up the phone, and basically just interfered with Ryan's ability to reach out to his family and spend quality time over Christmas holiday.
Okay. So tell me, I want to know just a little bit. I can't help but be curious. Tell me a little bit about Ryan's husband. What does he do?
Well, at the time that they were married, he was the adopted mother's employee.
Wait, Monica.
Yeah. No, he was working for the adopted mother and her home / facility. Well, facility-like. I think that it's kind of like a facility because she's adopted over a dozen people. And
so explain this to my listening audience. So here's adoptive mom who's now the co-conserver with another one of her staff members. She then marries your nephew to one of her staff members?
Mm-hmm. And her staff member is the one that actually conducted the ceremony as Ryan's co-conservator. It's
Were you guys there at the wedding at all?
No, we never had an opportunity to see him for 13 years, even though we had court-ordered visitation, weekly visitation. My mother, his grandmother, and his siblings had weekly court-ordered visitation, and my mother was told that she would be able to see Ryan for the rest of his life if she signed a motion to remove her petition to have Ryan moved into her home and taken out of the foster care situation. And my mother cried, and my mother's attorney said that this is a very solemn-esque case, and we want to see who the real mother is, the grandmother or the foster mother. And my mother cried dearly and was so hesitant to sign that paperwork.
So your nephew got married in this type of situation without his family being there at all.
Yeah.
What does Sean do? What does his husband do for a living?
Well, we didn't know that he was going to do this, but he became a long-distance truck driver for Swift, and now Ryan is basically a passenger to his spouse's career, being a long-distance truck driver. 90% of the time he's on the road solely.
Wait, Monica, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I want to clarify for the listening audience. So Ryan, who has the cognitive ability of about a kindergartner, he can trace letters. He cannot read. He's in a truck with his spouse driving all over America?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any concerns for his safety, for his... I mean, there's so many questions that come to my mind. And I know, America, as you're listening to this, so many questions are racing through your mind. Join this conversation. Call us here at the radio station. Monica, this is one of the most riveting stories I have heard about a foster child. Your nephew's name is Ryan Morris. And he rides along in a truck around America. And he can trace, he cannot read, and he has a mental capacity of about a 5-year-old. What's the plan? What's next? Because I understand your family is headed back to court. Is that correct?
We're back in court this Thursday. And we're basically where the public guardian is going to decide whether or not they need to step in and at least take temporary conservatorship until this whole matter is resolved. And it's also a trial setting hearing for us to take this to trial so that the judge, this is a new judge, and we're really praying as a family that this judge will actually see through the situation and ask the public guardian to step in immediately and investigate the situation.
If you go to www.savingryan.com, all of this information is available on their website. Also, you will have access to all of the legal paperwork there in Riverside County, California. This family needs assistance with raising money for their legal battle for Ryan. Please visit the website, www.savingryan.com. This is one of the most heart-wrenching stories I've ever told here on the Foster to Foster radio show. Monica, would you please join me again? I think that we were able to tell a little bit of your nephew's story. I'd like an opportunity for you to come back on the Foster to Foster radio show and tell us more. Will you join us again on the next episode of Foster to Foster radio show?
I will do my best to do so.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
For Ryan.
For Ryan.
All of this is for Ryan.
Absolutely. My name is Dr. Anissa McNeil. I do the work and I tell the stories of foster youth. Thank you for joining us.